I said, we can get sued for that. Michael Buffer owns that.
Tough.
I know.
Ready I am.
3, 2, 1. The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com. All Geeked Up is brought to you by the Inked Geek Studios t-shirt. Get yours today at tiny.cc/igswag. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of All Geeked Up.
I wondered where that music faded out and where the intro would be.
Huh?
Oh, I was waiting to jump in, but I had no idea where that music was going to stop. It's new music.
Well, I thought we were doing the bounce back and forth.
Yeah, we are.
And you did it.
I didn't remember that at the time.
It's all good.
The hard-hitting news of the 1980s. Yeah, we're here.
Anyway, I am Nate. I am joined by my co-host, Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
Hey, I'm here for another episode of a newly controversial show.
This has been one of those weeks where we have barely talked since the last time we did shows. Well, that's not true because we didn't do shows last week. We've barely talked since our late night Diablo binge last Friday.
Yeah, we've talked, but I mean, it's been your generic, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing, And I had a lot of stuff to say for the show tonight, but then I had a good portion of sleep, and now my mind is blank.
Right.
But that's fine.
A blank slate. Not too bad. A couple new things on my end. I wear glasses now.
Real glasses, not
Real
gunners.
glasses, yeah. So not my gunners anymore. I mean, my vision's been kind of crap for a while, but I always dealt with it. And then recently, thanks to some friends, Amy Frost and JF Dubois, I've picked up that, or have begun to pick up the habit of Warhammer miniature painting. And I realized something when I hold an 1.5 inch tall miniature to my face to try and paint it, I see 2 of them. And when I wink one eye or close one eye to be able to see clearly with my other eye, I have no idea where I'm putting the paintbrush. So, yeah.
In your booty hole? Booty hole paintbrush?
But so I have, I went and got my eyes checked, and now I can see and I can paint, and, it's cool. It's interesting because it's, when I take them off, it's blurry and my eyes will adjust like they used to, but now I can feel my eyes working to hold that vision.
Yeah, and I tried them on, and it's the reverse effect for me. I can feel the glasses pulling my eyes in 2 different directions.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, speaking of that, let me take the time to look at you straight on so you can see what I was talking about.
All right. I see it.
Now you're never going to be able to unsee it.
No. So our eyes are screwed up. We're both blind. We're old men.
Apparently.
But other than that, so between our 2 weeks off, we had the kickoff of the Diablo 3 season 11.
Which I've actually put a lot of time in for me. Not as much time as you, but for me, quite a bit. I mean, I've only played for 2 Friday evenings, but those have been 5-hour sessions.
Right. Yeah, it's first season with the Necromancer. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I like it. The Necro's a little gimmicky, depending on what build you're playing. But it's yeah, I enjoy it. He's a solid class. He's well balanced. He was a little overpowered in the PTR, but they balanced a lot of that out. I'm currently doing the pet build, which I like. I have the full 6-piece for the Corpse Lance, but I haven't quite tuned the gear yet. I haven't got the right specs I want, so I've just been sitting happy with the pet build. But I like it. It's the first season since like season 5 that I didn't play a Demon Hunter, because it's basically been solid Demon Hunter for a while now.
But the first season where you've had a new class to play.
Right. Well, I mean, I tried, like, I dabbled the Wizard one season, and then there was a season that I played the Monk. But
outside of the Necro, this season I've played nothing but the Wizard.
Right. So you play the Wizard because when we kind of first got you into PC Diablo, you said that the Wizard was what you did.
Yeah, it's been what I've played the whole time. If you want to go way back to when we were kids playing Diablo 2, I played
Right.
Barbarian, but even then, that was, fair weather playing.
And it's so much different now anyway. So,
Right.
I mean,
Do
we
you
can
remember having Raul at your house and him just sitting in your mother's room playing Diablo all night while we were hanging out downstairs?
vaguely.
All the time.
My biggest memory with Diablo 2 is dabbled the wizard as my Are you gonna dabble the wizard?
You might. You can see really well now, so.
But yeah, so no, my biggest memory with Diablo 2 is the fact that it launched right around the same time that we got that Godsmack was up in town, and they had recently released the Awake album, and I remember they did 2 back-to-back shows at the State. It was the State because they hadn't quite blown up yet. And I got tickets for the first night, and then it sold out really quick. So they did a second night. I got tickets for the second night, and I don't think I slept for like 48 hours. I remember I worked at Burger King at the time, called out both days.
Man, you have had some jobs.
And it was Diablo 2 midnight launch, Godsmack, Diablo 2, Diablo 2, Diablo 2, Godsmack, Diablo 2, Diablo.
Do you miss midnight releases?
I don't actually.
You don't miss the joy of going and standing in line and all of that shit?
Not particularly, no. Yeah, no. I mean, like, it's interesting because now that we are in a social media world, especially with the podcasting and the live stream gaming and things like that, like, that'd be a great place to go and hand out business cards and get to know people, especially like, what we're doing with like meetup.com and stuff like that, trying to establish a local base.
And that's great, but you'd have to have this amalgam of past and present that just wouldn't work. I mean, who does midnight releases anymore?
Well, that's exactly the thing. I mean, the biggest midnight release people, I mean, people still do them because you get people who don't want digital, so they still do your midnights. You get the people who want the physical collector's edition that sometimes comes with collector's items. Right. Speaking of which, we can talk about the announced 2K18 collector's edition if you want. I don't know if you saw it.
Well, we do have all of Comic-Con. That's happened since we've had a show.
I have literally not paid attention to any of it. So if you...
I basically shared all of it on our page on Facebook. But if you haven't paid attention to any of it, it's kind of hard to go through it.
Well, if you bring it up, I mean, I'm sure, especially with something with like Comic-Con headlines, are definitely discussion points.
Right. Now, back to the midnight release thing. I guess where I've jumped shipped from console gaming, I'm sure it's still a thing for people.
Right.
But obviously, I think those people are outside of our age group.
Right.
But it's just so far off my radar now because I have Steam.
Well, that's precisely it. I mean, with PC gaming, you do a lot of it is digital. Most places don't even carry physical copies. Even with console gaming now, with most of your consoles coming standard with terabyte hard drives. Again, so and these days, even if you buy, like if you were to go and buy a lot of your physical games, a lot of what is on that disc is simply like the verification key. Right. You're still putting the disc in your console and downloading the game. Right. So you're not really saving any time. If anything, you're saving time by doing digital because then you can pre-install. So it's simply the unlock patch that comes in to make everything playable. Right. And these days, whether you're gaming with Xbox One or PS4, Xbox One's a little bit faster, but your PS4, your download speeds are abysmal. So
I know.
I mean, like, I have 100 down, 15-ish up here, and which is still pretty slow for national standards, but and the PlayStation never really peaks more than 5, whereas whereas like with Steam, like you top off at like 15, 16 megabytes a second, which again is I understand is still slow, but for what they offer here, it's not bad. But yeah, so but the Xbox typically does pretty well. The Xbox usually comes in pretty hot, downloads pretty quick. So, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so, I like digital. Again, it's the biggest drawback is no trading in. I can see why that's a flaw to people. You don't get your pre-owned, but you do get your sales. But you don't get your pre-owned. You don't get the ability to trade in. And that can be a thing there. However, for me, that's actually caused me to complete more games than I used to. I was very much one who I would buy a game when it was the hot new game. I would play it, and then 3 to 4 weeks later, 2 to 3 weeks later, depending on the season of releases, a game would come out. and I would trade in the game I bought to get the new game because I wanted to play the new game. Now with digital, you can't do that, obviously. So, like the game I always use as an example is Sunset Overdrive. It came free digitally with the Xbox One that I had bought. 2014, actually, I remember because it was like 2 nights before BlizzCon that I had got it. So I got Sunset Overdrive. I played it. It's kind of like a comic-y Grand Theft Auto type styled game. Very Grand Theft Auto, very infamous. I played it. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But it also, I got it around the same time I got Advanced Warfare because that was the year that came out. And then BlizzCon was around the corner. So Sunset Overdrive kind of got lost in the mix. And then late winter, early spring of 2015, I was like, oh yeah, Sunset Overdrive. I should play that. And I sat down and the game hooked me so much that I beat it in like 2 days.
Yeah, that was about the time I started coming back around here when you were doing that.
Right. And Sunset was... Hey, Corey. Yeah, so Sunset Overdrive was a lot of fun, and it was the humor was great. The combat was a lot of fun. The upgrades were really fun. Again, it was kind of like that. It was... I say Grand Theft Auto because that's your typical open world sandbox game, but no, it was very infamous, but comical. You know, like Infamous was, you know, you kind of developed superpowers. Man, that was a great game. I would love to see a third one of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was cool. But again, I only finished it because I had it digitally. I wasn't able to trade it in. So because I wasn't able to trade it in, it stays in your library on the Microsoft Store. And, you know, for that reason, I eventually finished it. So
yeah, sooner or later, you work your way back around to it.
Right. So on one hand, I didn't get the trade-in credit for it, which would have been, what, maybe $15-20. But on the other hand, I finished it. So I ended up, while I didn't get some of my money back, I ended up getting more for my value of the initial purchase.
Right.
So again, pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
So in true Sonics and Sabres fashion, we have a new doctor announced.
We did.
And it's a woman.
It is a female.
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker.
From David Tennant's show.
I hear she comes from David Tennant's show.
She does. Do you have thoughts on the doctor being a woman? There's a lot of backlash.
Are you surprised?
No, I mean, in a world of outrage, no. But
here, okay.
Doctor Who fans, if anybody, I would think would be open-minded enough to accept that and know that it was coming. If they could feel the change of the tide, they should already know.
You would hope. So here's my thing. I obviously don't care. I think it's cool. I think she looks cool. I mean, it's a BBC show, so obviously, and as she should be, she's going to be dressed very modestly. She's not going to be sexualized. She's going to be the character. And I think it's a great...
Well, there's a lot of rumors going around now that she's going to have a bisexual relationship.
Well, now see... No,
but I think that's all hardly going to happen.
No, here's my question. Here's my question. So, the Doctor is the same person, right? Okay. Or entity, because the Doctor's an alien, correct?
Yep.
So... According to story, the mind, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, the alien entity that is the Doctor, that existed with all of the Doctors up to this point, you know, David Tennant, and that's the only name I can remember right now.
Matt Smith,
Chris
Eccleston,
okay,
Tom Baker.
So, okay, thank you. So the entity that is the Doctor that existed within all of these people is the same entity, right? Like memories hold through,
more or less. Yeah.
Okay. So, now I'm not even worried about the old show. From Eccleston up to this point, the Doctor has fancied women.
Well,
so should the Doctor still not? It hasn't
really been. There's implied stuff with some of the companions, but there's not really been. Yes, he has a wife, but even then, it's not sexualized in any way.
Okay. So and like now we're getting a male.
The Doctor comes from a planet that's so civilized where gender isn't really.
Right.
You know, there's fluidity there. Obviously, since they regenerate male, female, it doesn't matter.
Right. So, okay. So in that case, now the companion's male, correct? Or is it confirmed?
Apparently, the person they thought was going to be the Doctor is going to be the companion.
Okay. So, no, it'll be interesting to see. I still need to catch up at some point. I get so lost in the I just started watching a new TV show on Amazon Prime, Goliath, which fortunately is pretty short. Well, I say fortunately, but it's a, what are you pointing at? Oh, we locked. What the hell?
Yeah, Goliath I really want to watch. I've started watching Preacher in the last week. That's been pretty amazing so far. Have not read the comics, so I have no point of reference, which is probably a good thing.
Right. Keep going. I'll fix the
Will
camera.
we come back from the stream? I haven't watched Goliath. Tell me what it's about while you do
So
that.
Goliath is it's got Billy Bob Thornton. He plays a old alcoholic, bad habit induced. Why is the camera not working? There we go. Hello, people. Sorry about that. So anyway, so he is he's an alcoholic older lawyer. Old as in no longer lawyer, attorney, whatever you want to call him. So the show starts off episode 1. There's 2 fishermen on a fishing boat out in the water, where you typically would find a fishing boat.
Typically.
And there's this noise, and then off in the distance, there's this giant explosion, like almost like nuclear, like mushroom cloud explosion. The boat gets knocked over. All this really crazy, like napalm-like debris falls from the sky. Yeah, basically,
Wildfire.
Corey. He plays Billy Bob Thornton. Also, hello, Electric Maestro. So anyway, so then you get your pop-up 2 years later. You get Billy Bob introduced to the scene, whatever. He's in a restaurant arguing with someone, if I recall. And he gets approached by this woman who says, look, I have a wrongful death suit. It's with your old firm. I can't get in contact with anybody there, yada, yada, whatever. So anyway, so what ensues from that point forward is there's all of this crazy shit. Like people are just getting murdered, like very suspiciously to cover things up. There's like supposedly the story is that the explosion on the boat from the 2 years prior was a guy who had set a bomb off to commit suicide. And this whole thing, it's a big conspiracy, like big business, weapons manufacturing, big lawyers, like everything kind of gets tied up. It's a lot of fun, and it definitely brings, there's an element of like, oh shit, what's next? There is a scene, I want to say it's episode 2 or 3. The episodes are about an hour long each. And it's in the UHD 4K on Amazon Prime, which is nice. So it is probably one of the most violent hit by an automobile scenes I've ever seen. Like he is just walking across the street with somebody, and she is just maybe like a couple feet back from him, and like this black SUV just like full speed just like fucking nails her, and like it misses him by an inch and just nails her, and whatever. It's somebody get hit by a car. It's a TV show, whatever. But just it was like I was watching it and I was like, holy fuck, because it just came out of nowhere. But I thoroughly enjoy it. It's again, I love Billy Bob. Billy Bob is always entertaining to me. And I'm hooked. I hope it's something that's getting a season 2. It is an Amazon Prime original. So
Is it going to be a chronicle like Fargo where they have different characters and cast members every season?
I don't know.
It seems to me that he was on Free Beer and Hot Wings promoting that, and he had talked about that, but I don't know if it was him saying he was going to be a rag on that show or if it was just that season.
Isn't he on?
He was on Fargo for a season.
Right.
But
yeah.
now this season is different. That's a chronicle.
That's a show I got to watch as well.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I've got so many shows to watch. I still have to watch The Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
I hear that's amazing, and I mean, Peggy.
I got to catch back up on Gotham. I fell behind when they went on their last break to let
there
24
was a
air.
season 4 trailer released that I haven't watched.
Yeah,
yet.
I haven't watched it. I don't want any spoilers.
No, I still got to watch that last season. I'm back a season, so.
The last I watched of it was when they had Jerome, who is quote unquote the Joker. It was like because they took a break, they took their winter break, and then they came back for like 3 episodes.
I hate that. I'm just gonna binge watch everything from now on. I can't stand it.
The reason they did that was because they were taking a break because of the 24, the new 24 with the new main character.
Right.
And then once that ended, Gotham picked back up for like it was like 2 or 3, maybe 4 more episodes. And then so things got, I don't know, it's whatever. So anyway, I haven't caught back up yet. But Chickless is back, and he's a pretty badass character from what I hear. You've got Penguin and Riddler still going strong.
Did he get revealed to be something more than he was?
I don't know. I would assume he has at this point.
Right. He'd have to be because he was such a.
I mean, the thought was that he was going to be, at least this was, again, if something was revealed that proves this wrong up to this point, I'm not aware, but the thought was that he was going to be Bane or a Bane type character.
Oh, really?
Because he was infected. There was a magician character who was kind of like a Mad Hatter. and he had this infection or chemical or drug or something that made people just like rage and go crazy and made them like extremely strong, and Chickless got infected with it. Big, bald, ragey and strong. It's Bane.
Big bald rager.
A big bald rager.
Do you dabble the wizard?
But yeah, so the thing, other than Riddler and Penguin, it seems to be a lot of the characters in the show, it's very much an inspired by Batman, not a,
right.
you know what I mean? Because, it's Jerome, not Joker, but he's
Right.
clearly the fucking Joker.
Obviously.
You
I'm
know.
still waiting for that time jump.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if we're going to see it, because
In between seasons, how much has that kid grown up? The kid playing
a little bit. I mean, he's not quite as...
is he still like a prepubescent boy, or
he's making that transition.
sound
So
like a
if you
pederast?
use...
I shouldn't be that interested.
If you use The Walking Dead as a reference, where we've got like annoying Carl, and I guess now he's badass Carl.
I don't give a fuck, Carl.
Yeah, so like,
Speaking of
so
that-
Bruce is somewhere in that transitional period.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Speaking of Walking Dead,
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman says there is an end in sight. He has an end for The Walking Dead. He's not gonna tell us what it is. He hasn't even written it down.
but he knows.
But the end is coming.
And we talked about this on I think we talked about this at the end of Mind of a Geek season 4, or season 3. Let's hope we get like an end. Oh no, we talked about this with Jackie.
Actual closure.
Well, no, I want to know the source. I want to know where it came from.
A full circle.
So I agree.
Not and they walked into the distance.
Right. Somebody had made a point, and this was Mind of a Geek 2 weeks ago. Somebody had made a point, and I don't remember if it was Jackie or if it was somebody in the chat room, but once you reveal the source, whether it's a virus, whether it's whatever it is, at that point in time, the show becomes a quest to solve it.
Right.
So yes, reveal it, but reveal it at the end, and that way it's best of both worlds.
Right. It makes no sense to me anyway. They kind of reveal it in the TV show. They go to the CDC and they say that everybody's infected.
Right.
So you die, you come back.
Yep.
But then you get bitten and you die and you come back.
Our camera is really off center.
Yeah, no, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
We'll fix it for the next show. But what is the point of fucking... It negates being bitten if you're already infected with the virus or whatever it is.
Well, right. Yeah, it's like...
okay, so if you die a natural death, you're gonna come back.
Right.
But somehow if you get bitten, it's doubly potent and you come back. I mean, are we saying that we're just dying from a wound? Because at that point, if you just get a bite, like they get sick and they die, right? But if they're already infected...
Right, so...
What is the point of that?
All right, so what season are we on? Are we on 7? Are we on 6?
I think we're on 7.
Okay.
We're going on 7,
so
I think.
Now...
Ashley would know, but Ashley's not here.
No, was it the end of season 1, or in the beginning of season 2 that you find out? The end of season 1 is the CDC episode, right?
Yes.
And is that where you find out that everybody's infected? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they blow up the CDC.
Right. So it was at the beginning that they're like, oh, if you get bit, you're going to turn. Mm-hmm. It was very vampire-like. But then they found out at the end of season 1 into the beginning of season 2 that, no, we're just all infected. If you die and you don't get decapitated or somehow otherwise deformed,
Basically.
you're going to turn.
Right.
So
let me give you the...
So at this point, the bite isn't what turns them. It's just the bite is because the zombies are feeding.
Right. But
it's just like with a vampire.
They get bitten and then they get sick.
Right.
But if you're already infected, why are you getting sick? But caveat to that, this was a long time ago and my memory is vague, so I could be off on my details.
Maybe the infection is okay. So the infection is dormant in everybody, and death is what triggers it, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe the reason that they start getting sick is maybe it's because when they get bitten, therefore the no longer dormant but now active virus or infection or whatever it is now that it's entered their system, it begins to trigger the virus that's already in their system. So that's why they start getting sick, because it's not possible to be a living human with the active virus. Would that make sense?
So you're saying the bite activates the virus that lies dormant within?
Well, not necessarily the bite, but the transfer of the active virus to the dormant virus activates the dormant virus.
Maybe, but that's a really convoluted, roundabout way to explain everything. Like, do they really need to go that in depth?
I mean,
couldn't they have just said, "Oh, you're fine"?
I'm kind of an
until you get a
idiot,
bite?
and I just thought of it in 30 seconds. So
Right, but it doesn't take much to entertain the masses of idiots. I mean,
Right.
here we are.
right. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Like that was kind of what turned me off. And again, we talked about this, but that was what turned me off to it was when he came out and said, he goes, "Yeah, I'm never going to reveal the source." I'm like, well, then why am I watching?
Right. You're watching for the great character arcs. Although I don't know, I was kind of falling out in that, but now they've teased the Whisperers and Negan. Negan is great. I love Henry Dean Morgan, father of the Winchesters in Supernatural, the comedian.
Right.
So I'll watch that dude. I'm in it for that.
Well, that works.
He overacts the shit out of that show. It's great.
Corey says death shuts down the immune system that's blocking the infection. That's not a bad thought.
When you die, sure, but I mean, if you're still alive, right? So you're being bit and being infected with something you already have. So if death shuts down the immune system, right? That's fine if you get a fatal wound. But if I just get bit on the arm and I don't bleed out, why am I still dying if I'm already infected?
Probably somewhere in the middle of both. Perhaps. I don't know. You're watching to see which Rick do we get this week.
That's right. Do we get the Rick that talks to nobody on the phone? Talks to ghosts on the phone? Yeah. Bitchy Rick? I'm the man, Rick. Speaking of Rick, Rick and Morty comes back in 2 days.
Indeed.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I saw that board game on a shelf today.
Pickle Rick. I want to see Pickle Rick. I want a Pickle Rick t-shirt.
I haven't even seen the episode 1 yet.
Oh man, I've seen that so many times.
So what's gonna be the deal? So when it comes out, it's on Cartoon Network, right?
Mm-hmm. It's on Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, yeah. So is it gonna be on Hulu? Because they have the deal with Hulu, right?
Do they? They must.
Because the first two.
Yeah, that's where I watch Rick and Morty now. So.
Yeah. So I assume once it comes out, now are they gonna re-air episode 1?
Oh, I don't doubt it. I'm sure it'll be on right before.
Okay.
I mean, that would be my assumption.
That'll be exciting to see.
Now, I don't know where episode 1, the season hasn't started, so that got released way back in April.
Yeah.
Right? Just as a teaser.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it was April Fool's.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to do like the next day thing with Hulu or if they're going to do like what Netflix does now where they don't release that shit until after the entire season comes out. Because Supernatural, when Hulu lost that contract and it went to Netflix.
Right.
Netflix releases it, but not until 2 weeks after the season ends, and then they just release the whole season.
Yeah, see,
so
Hulu
you don't get it episodically.
Hulu did episode for episode. That's how Hulu typically does it.
A different strain of the infection, you say. A more powerful one. Corey. How's that book coming? Are you writing a book? Get a little book, some words. No, Stewie? No,
I was letting you go. I was going to see how long you were taking. I wanted to see how high you could get the voice.
That's as high as I can go before I start to get funny. That's a little high voice. You're not going to be able to hear it if I keep going.
But yeah, so no, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's going to be kind of a short episode this week.
Yeah,
which
that's my fault.
Which is perfectly fine. No, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus.
No, I'll throw myself under the bus and back up on myself.
Oh, speaking of, well, this is going to be a dark turn. So this is the first episode that we've had since that happened. We don't have to talk about it much, but just to say a piece. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. We lost the lead singer of Linkin Park last Thursday. You care, you don't care, you liked the music, you didn't like the music, that's fine. I'm not here to discuss that.
No, but, regardless, a man has still lost his life.
A man died, suffered from depression, went through a lot of shit, and his music was really inspirational for me and for a lot of people. I was a huge fan, I still am, and not of the modern stuff so much, but of those first few albums. So yeah, rest in peace. And, if you have thoughts like that, talk to somebody, get help. And, and use... A lot of people get upset when a famous person takes their own life and it becomes, social media news when suicide is a rampant threat for everybody, whether you're famous or not. So at the very least, what we can take from that is it brings eyes to the situation, to the issue. So it makes people more aware of it. So, yeah, that's that.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. But I don't want to end on a somber or on a bad note, or a sad note.
You don't want to end on a sad note?
I don't.
Really? Well, I have one thing to say to you, my friend.
What?
When I say geek, you say
well,
geeked. Up, geeked.
I like the running man pose. Up. No. So.
Oh, you know what this was? This was me thinking about Trump and. Do you watch last?
Suicide and politics?
Wait, do you watch Last Week Tonight?
No.
All right,
No,
well-
I've been told I need to, though.
Yeah, you should.
Several people have told me that.
So anyway, John Oliver was doing a piece on the coal miners and this guy Joe Murray. It doesn't matter, but they showed Trump like on the trail,
Right.
You know, and he had the coal miner's hat on. And he's doing the shovel, like he fucking knows.
Right.
That's what it made me think of. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I just want to do just one more kind of geeky thing, something that we don't talk about a lot, but probably going to be talking about at least a little bit more as we get into future shows and things like that. I tried a new tabletop game today, and it was really cool. I actually have
Sounded
it
really cool. Did you buy it?
there. Well, which one? I bought that one. That's a different one.
Not the one we talked about.
No, not the one we talked about. So that is called King of Tokyo. It's rated for ages 8 and up. It's a handful of players. So
It
it's
looks very much like that old PS game.
Rampage.
Yes.
That was like an old NES game. So anyway, so it's King of the Hill in some ways. So you pick your monster, you roll. It's a dice rolling game. You roll dice. You get abilities. You regain health. So one monster is the King of Tokyo, and then all the other monsters try and knock him off. And it's last monster standing wins. So I played it a little bit today. It was a lot of fun. I picked it up. I think Lizzie and I are going to try it when we get a chance. And it's cool. Another game that I played today, which I did not pick up, I will be picking up a copy of it soon. It's called No Regrets. So No Regrets is a tattoo-inspired game.
Mm-hmm.
You get a card that represents body parts. You get 2 arms, 2 legs, a chest, and a back, like you do. And
Face, neck, and chest.
no face, neck, and chest. Well, you get chest, no face and neck.
I don't get to regurd on your face, neck, and chest.
There should be an expansion that does like face and neck.
Yeah, I want to regurd all over the
Maybe
place.
maybe they'll do that. But anyway,
Sure.
So I played it a little bit today. I also played it at Nerdtacular with a bunch of people, and so it's cool. So you start off with cards in your hand. It's a card game, and you play tattoos. There are positive tattoos, negative tattoos. There's ability cards, and you go around the circle. And there are different abilities like, you can get laser removal and remove tattoos. You have bad decision cards where you can make your friends do bad decisions and play a bad tattoo on them.
Like barbed wire tattoo.
A bunch of different. There's a lot of.
Are there a lot
actually,
of like stereotype tattoos?
there are, and there's a lot of really cool ones. So
if you ended up getting a tattoo that was in the game,
yeah. Oh, I saw it today actually. It was Goat the something. Goat the Demon or something like that. It was a really cool looking. It was cool. I'll look it up.
sure.
Annalisa says she still loves the jellyfish card. So, and there's cool little different modifiers. Like you can get like a pirate tattoo, which makes you peg-legged. So you remove one of your legs so you can't put tattoos on it.
I see.
But it doubles the points of all the tattoos on your other leg. There's another one that's a samurai, does the same thing, but for the arms. Like, so there's a bunch of cool different things. The artwork in it is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. And my favorite rule of the game, the person with the most tattoos goes first.
Of course.
So in my social circles, I will typically always go first. But it's cool. Goat of the Beast. Thank you. That's what it's called. Goat of the Beast. So yeah, I mean, you play. Each body part can get 3 tattoos. So you play. I believe it's you play until one person fills up all their slots, and then again you got positive and negative tattoos. You add up all your points, and then ranking of who wins, etc. As you go down the list is based off your total points.
I'm all for filling slots.
Yeah. But no, it's cool. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Other than that, I got nothing. I think
Goodbye.
that's it. Are we done?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you doing the sign off? Am I doing the sign off?
No. We're not doing a sign off.
We should do a sign off.
No, we should pre-record one and say goodbye.
We should record one. Anyway, thank you everyone for hanging out with us in the Twitch chat. Thank you for listening to the recorded podcast version of the show. If you want to catch the show live, you can catch it live on Twitch at twitch.tv/InkedGeekStudios every Friday night, unless otherwise noted, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah. I think that's it. I am out of it tonight. I am so tired. If you're watching
It'll all be
live,
over soon,
if
Nate.
you're watching live, hang out with us in about 15-20 minutes. We've got Randy Carver Jr. from Limitless Wrestling joining us on Mind of a Geek. Should be a good show. They have a huge sale going on their DVDs right now, and they just made a big announcement for their event coming up in September, featuring a former WWE superstar. So tune in live to catch that. I need to pre-record this.
I know, we have to work on that.
We do.
We should do it together.
We should. No, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you, in about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.